Olá, muito boa tarde. Bem-vindos e bem-vindas a mais um evento da série Migração e Refúgio na UFMG. Hoje nós teremos a aula inaugural da Formação Transversal em Estudos Internacionais intitulada Faces dos Refugiados Rohingya, proferida pelo jornalista Showkat Shafi. E eu gostaria de chamar para a abertura dessa aula o diretor de Relações Internacionais da UFMG, professor Aziz Toufi Saliba, o pró-reitor adjunto de graduação, professor Bruno Teixeira, o diretor de Ação Cultural, Fernando Mencarelli, e a coordenadora da Formação Transversal em Estudos Internacionais, professora Patrícia Nasser Carvalho. Passo, então, a palavra ao professor Aziz para dar início ao evento.
Um bom dia para todas, para todos. É uma satisfação tê-los aqui conosco. Gostaria de iniciar saudando aqui os meus queridos colegas que comigo compõem a mesa, nossos diletos parceiros neste evento, professor Fernando Mencarelli, está para cá, professor Fernando Mencarelli, é uma satisfação tê-lo conosco, mais esta iniciativa aqui da DRI. Professor Bruno Teixeira, de igual modo, sempre um prazer para nós termos a Prograde envolvida conosco em nossos projetos. Professora Patrícia Nasser, que coordena, acredita na nossa formação transversal em estudos internacionais, juntamente com uma comissão da qual faz parte professor Klaus, professor Mauro Henrique, que justificou sua ausência, e a nossa servidora da DRI, Tatiana. Cumprimento a todos pela presença, em especial o nosso convidado, our distinguished guest for today, Showkat Shafi. It's a great pleasure to have you here with us. Eu gostaria de aproveitar esta oportunidade para dizer que esse evento se dá em razão de duas iniciativas da DRI nesse semestre, melhor dizendo, duas das muitas iniciativas que o professor Davidson e eu estamos liderando na DRI. Uma primeira, da qual participaram tanto a Prograde quanto a DAC, foi uma resolução para ampliar o acolho de migrantes em situação de vulnerabilidade, em situação de risco. Não é? Nós tínhamos uma resolução mais restritiva no âmbito da UFMG. Ela, tanto é que, em 15 anos, nós tivemos apenas 16 pedidos no âmbito desta resolução anterior, e uma das razões é a excessiva demora que há no pleito de refúgio, na análise do pleito de refúgio no Brasil. As pessoas que receberam refúgio recentemente tiveram de aguardar cerca de 10 anos. Então, ela não atendia a nossa realidade, não atendia o nosso contexto. O que a comissão, que tive o prazer de presidir, resolveu foi ampliar o escopo de pessoas que poderiam ser beneficiadas pela resolução, sem, evidentemente, sacrificar a proteção jurídica necessária para a nossa universidade. Então, nós ampliamos e podemos também receber pessoas que são apátridas, ou seja, que não têm o vínculo de nacionalidade com qualquer Estado. Nós podemos ainda receber pessoas que ingressaram no Brasil em razão de um visto de acolhida humanitária, caso mais notável dos haitianos. Nós podemos ainda receber pessoas que ingressaram no Brasil em razão de um decreto que possibilitou uma acolhida humanitária de certos grupos, caso mais notório de muitos dos venezuelanos. E, além disso, a resolução deixa a critério da nossa Câmara de Graduação a inclusão de outros grupos no futuro, já que, como dizia o Código Civil de Porto Rico, nem a mais fértil imaginação do legislador é tão rica quanto a vida. Deste modo, nós demos um passo importante naquilo que acreditamos ser uma das grandes forças da UFMG, que é a inclusão, a diversidade. Quanto mais diversa for a nossa comunidade, mais ricos serão os debates, melhor será a formação que teremos aqui. Uma outra iniciativa que vai nesse mesmo sentido é a nossa formação transversal em estudos internacionais. Nós tínhamos na UFMG, até o semestre passado, mas, enfim, a oferta anual de 2 disciplinas em língua inglesa, descontada, evidentemente, as ofertas de determinados idiomas, né? Você quer aprender francês, a disciplina vai ser em francês, espanhol e assim por diante. Nós temos agora um catálogo com 53 disciplinas, e eu vejo aqui muitos colegas que já estão envolvidos conosco nessa iniciativa, a quem também estendo os meus agradecimentos por participarem conosco desse esforço de internacionalização. As disciplinas são em língua inglesa ou espanhola e têm um viés internacional ou comparado. Então, nós temos desde cultura chinesa até política e direito internacional, nós temos desde ONU até ecologia, não é? Então, enfim, um espectro bastante amplo que atenderá certamente a todos os interesses, mas que nós pretendemos, a professora Patrícia e os demais professores têm feito este esforço, nós pretendemos que esse catálogo em breve esteja defasado. Queremos ter um número ainda maior de disciplinas para que nossos discentes tenham a oportunidade de se internacionalizar aqui na UFMG. Sabemos que muitos, por razões familiares, por razões econômicas, não poderão ter a experiência de intercâmbio. Então, que tenhamos para eles uma experiência aqui, que será também benéfica, pois poderemos atrair mais estudantes do exterior e assim promovermos a diversidade, e será benéfica também para nossos professores, já que nós os queremos cada vez mais inseridos globalmente. Então, feitas estas considerações, e apenas para explicar o contexto pelo qual nós convidamos, juntamente com nossos parceiros, Showkat Shafi, para fazer aqui a sua exposição, eu gostaria apenas de dizer que nós pensamos em inúmeros nomes que pudesse simbolizar, que pudesse sintetizar essas duas iniciativas, e aí, por sugestão do meu grande amigo, talvez minha mais constante companhia, já que estamos todos os dias, né, juntos, às vezes no telefone, no final de semana, para desespero das nossas famílias. Mas, enfim, por sugestão do professor Davidson, nós, então, escolhemos Showkat Shafi. Ele esteve anteriormente conosco, ele é da região da Caxemira, então cresceu e nos ajudou a entender melhor a região mais militarizada do mundo, que passa agora por graves problemas, como deve ser do conhecimento de muitos aqui. E Davidson me mostrou um ensaio de Showkat Shafi, que é fotógrafo muito premiado, e este ensaio recebeu a premiação em Londres, num dos mais importantes eventos da sua área, um evento sobre os refugiados Rohingya. São fotografias que, embora não tenham violência, etc., são muito impactantes. São cenas, pelo menos, foram muito fortes para mim. Sem maiores delongas, eu convido, então, Showkat Shafi e Davidson Lopes para procederem aqui à apresentação. E o professor Davidson falará um pouco mais sobre o nosso convidado, e então ele lhes mostrará belíssima coleção de fotos, belíssima, impactante, perturbadora até, coleção de fotos de sua autoria. Muito obrigado a todos vocês.
Obrigada, professor. Convido os professores para se sentar na plateia para poderem assistir a palestra, e convido o professor Davidson Pelin Lopes, diretor adjunto de Relações Internacionais da UFMG, para fazer a apresentação do nosso convidado.
Bom dia, senhoras e senhores. Muito feliz de ver o auditório tomado. Essa é uma ocasião que, de fato, me alegra muito, não só porque, finalmente, nós estamos a inaugurar a nossa formação transversal em Estudos Internacionais, mas também por ter a chance de receber aqui no meu país Showkat Shafi, alguém de quem eu tenho a honra de ser próximo, de ser amigo. Nós nos conhecemos já há 3 anos, so 3 years back when we first met. E eu tive a honra de conhecê-lo antes da fama, isso é muito bom, não é? So, before your worldwide recognition, we were friends already. De modo que é uma relação muito fraterna, muito genuína, e que me permite ter essa liberdade de convidá-lo para uma ocasião que nos é tão especial, que nos é tão cara, como o professor Aziz mencionou anteriormente. É um conjunto de iniciativas importantes, não só esse novo marco legal para refugiados e imigrantes vulneráveis, mas que envolve também esse esforço enorme de tentar transformar a UFMG numa universidade global, com várias disciplinas e vários cursos acontecendo em língua estrangeira, inglês, espanhol. É uma pequena revolução para os nossos padrões. A gente tem, neste momento, Bruno sabe bem disso, 10 unidades acadêmicas com cursos em língua estrangeira. Lá no centro, então, campus saúde, direito, arquitetura. Aqui no campus da Pampulha, várias unidades acadêmicas. Isso é muito novo e isso é muito alentador para a DRI, para todos os nossos parceiros, Prograde, DAC, a ProEx, que tem nos ajudado nesse processo. A UFMG, de um modo geral, tem abraçado essa proposta e nós somos, de fato, muito agradecidos por esse processo, né, por essa dinâmica que está se desenrolando. Bom, eu vou, então, apresentar a vocês o nosso convidado do dia, Showkat Shafi. Ele trabalha na rede Al Jazeera. Para quem acho que a maioria aqui conhece, já ouviu falar, mas a Al Jazeera ela é uma das 5 maiores redes de comunicação do mundo, em termos de audiência. Só que ela cobre uma região que nem todos nós estamos atentos a ela com alguma frequência, não é? A audiência da Al Jazeera, sobretudo, em partes do mundo como o Oriente Médio, como o sul da Ásia, o sudeste asiático, norte da África, mas é uma grande audiência. E, de fato, faz da Al Jazeera ela seja comparável às grandes CNN, BBC. Então, assim, é o mesmo patamar, uma grande rede de comunicação global. Showkat é um fotojornalista que fez coberturas internacionais as mais diversas, correu meio mundo já. Então, ele já esteve fazendo matérias sempre sobre temas de direitos humanos, refúgio, migrações, desigualdade, questões religiosas, de valores. Esse é o tipo de pauta que ele tem coberto ao longo da sua trajetória. Então, ele já esteve fazendo matérias a serviço na Áustria, no Reino do Butão, em Bangladesh, Israel, Palestina, Nepal, nos Estados Unidos, na região do Alasca, no Catar, diversas matérias, e por toda a Índia. A Índia é um subcontinente em si. Ele já cobriu matérias, fez coberturas em todo o país, toda a Índia. Ele também trabalhou em histórias que se tornaram globalmente reconhecidas, como foi mencionado por Aziz. Showkat Shafi é um fotógrafo muito premiado. Ele, por exemplo, apesar de ser jovem, ele já tem 2 dos principais prêmios da sua área no jornalismo digital. O nome do prêmio é Drum Online Media Awards. Ele tem 2 prêmios. O último que ele ganhou foi em maio deste ano, com este ensaio que a gente vai ver hoje. Não é? Então, ele ganhou esse prêmio em Londres, é um dos mais prestigiosos da fotografia global. Ele também recebeu uma menção honrosa pelo melhor uso de fotografia no 23º Annual Webby Awards, que é outro prêmio. Então, ele é um acumulador de prêmios, embora ele diga que não se interessa muito por isso, não. Mas é bom que as pessoas saibam que estão diante de um grande talento, de um talento reconhecido mundialmente. Eu quero finalmente dizer que ele também tem uma entrada acadêmica, ele tem um mestrado em jornalismo, o que faz dele um de nós. Não é? Ele é afeito, então, às rotinas e à vida dos acadêmicos, embora se identifique como o cara que bota a mão na massa, né? O practitioner. Ele é um fotógrafo, e assim se apresenta, mas que está próximo do meio acadêmico, então isso torna esse diálogo tão mais profícuo, tão mais interessante. Isso tudo sendo dito, it's my honor and my pleasure to invite Showkat Shafi to give the opening class of our minor, UFMG minor in International Studies. Please, Showkat, you have the floor. Só mais uma coisa. Eu vou funcionar aqui como tradutor consecutivo para que todos nós acompanhemos, todos nós estejamos na mesma página. Eu só faço a ressalva de que vai ser uma tradução não técnica, absolutamente atécnica, né? Tradutora e traditora, então vou cometer várias traições aqui ao vernáculo, mas eu acho que é um esforço importante para que a gente não perca nada. Então, Showkat vai falar livremente e depois eu vou tentar sumariar, né, as falas dele para a gente não perder também a sequência e a fluidez da fala.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here in your country second time. And I'm not sure if Mr. Davison has told you, the first time I came here, I thought this was the most free country in the world when I came in 2017. Because I come from one of the highest militarized zones of the world, from Kashmir. So for me, this was the best place to come and live in. So I really like your country. So thank you for coming today here. I'll share my experience of the Rohingya refugees. So we can say it either Rohingya or Rohingya. So I am almost from that area, so we say it Rohingya is the correct word, we use it. But you can even say Rohingya. So the Rohingya refugee crisis have been there from like 1970s. But in 2017, it was one of the biggest refugee crises in the world. And I will share my experience, what I saw there, when I went there. And at the end, After 6 months of covering this event, I decided to do this series, what I call as 100 Faces of Rohingya Refugees. As I believe it's one of the unique series from the Rohingya. There were thousands and thousands of pictures from Rohingya, but this kind of series was only done by me. And as UNICEF and UNHCR and the directors of UNICEF and UNHCR, they considered this one of the best works from the Rohingya refugees. That's it.
Ok, então ele faz uma saudação inicial, diz que é a segunda vez que está no Brasil, que quando esteve pela primeira vez aqui, me disse, de fato ele disse isso publicamente, que o Brasil era o país mais livre que ele conhecia, comparado sobretudo à região do mundo de onde ele vem, o sul da Ásia, e a Caxemira. A Caxemira é, segundo dados oficiais, a região mais militarizada do mundo hoje, proporção de cidadãos civis militares, é a região mais militarizada do mundo. Então, ele veio ao Brasil e já se identificou e gostou muito pelo sentido de liberdade que ele encontrava aqui. E ele ainda diz que essa apresentação que ele fará hoje sobre os refugiados Rohingya é algo que não se encontra por aí, é muito única. Outros colegas, outros jornalistas ainda não se debruçaram, talvez seja o único trabalho dedicado exclusivamente a esses refugiados, o que foi reconhecido pelos diretores tanto do Acnur quanto da Unicef, que falaram com ele isso, inclusive, e parabenizaram-no. Então, ele recebeu cumprimentos de 2 agências da ONU por ter feito esse trabalho e tematizado esses refugiados.
Can you help me with this, please? How did we run that thing? Can you help me with this video? How to get that? Can you? Yeah. Are you sure? No. Can I get the bigger version of this, please?
It's running.
Are you sure? Yeah.
It's running already.
These are the faces. The series is 100 photos from the age of 3. The youngest is 3, and the eldest is 95 years old. And I have tried to take pictures of men, women, to show all the people who were affected, because this refugee crisis, whenever any crisis happens in the world, it doesn't see if it's a man or a woman, it doesn't see if it's a child or an old man. So I tried to show all the age groups in this, but before we go to the actual series, let me show you what I saw in 2017, and we'll start from there.
Então, ele fez um trabalho com os refugiados e tirou fotos das faces dos refugiados de 3 anos de idade até 95 anos de idade. Ele esteve lá, depois voltou 6 meses depois para ver o que tinha acontecido com as pessoas, e ele vai contar essa história hoje.
So Rohingya is considered one of the most persecuted.
Maybe I should use the mic.
Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah. So Rohingya is considered one of the most persecuted minorities in the world. So I will show you the map where they come from. That yellow country is Myanmar, and they were residents of Myanmar. Myanmar was a British colony earlier, and as you know, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, all these countries were British colonies, and it was one. It was considered as India. And Britishers took many laborers from different parts of India, Bangladesh, to Myanmar, and they were living there from hundreds of years now. But in 1948, Myanmar got its independence, and this group, this Rohingya group, was the Muslim group, and they said they are not from us. They are outsiders, but they considered them outsiders, but they never asked them to leave the country. They were stateless people living in Rakhine state. This is the Rakhine state, where they were living from hundreds of years. But from 1970, they asked them to leave. In 1970, in 1991, and in 2017. These have been 3 incidents when the exodus of Rohingya refugees happened. And as you can see now, this was made in 2017 last updated on 28 September on 2017, this map, it shows there are more Rohingya living as refugees in Bangladesh as they are living in Myanmar now. So in their own country where they were born, there are very less people remaining, and most of them are refugees, and they are scattered around the globe, as you can see. Some are in Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Bangladesh, Pakistan, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and India. So they are all over that region, but there are less people in the Myanmar. Are you going to translate this?
So, basicamente, ele fala sobre o êxodo do povo Rohingya na região do sul da Ásia. E são números muito impressionantes, centenas de milhares, mais de 1 milhão, a rigor, no total de Rohingya que saíram de Mianmar, onde estava originalmente. E hoje há mais refugiados Rohingya em Bangladesh do que em Mianmar. Então, é uma grande história de êxodo. Aquela região era, na verdade, só o subcontinente índico, não é? Era um país só, mas depois, com as fragmentações políticas, os problemas começam a acontecer, eles vão sendo expulsos em algumas ondas, né? Então eles são forçados a se deslocar de Mianmar e saem pelo sul da Ásia. Bangladesh acabou sendo o destino preferencial.
So, in 2017, on 25th of August, the attack on Rohingya started in Myanmar, and there were many incidents of rapes, killings, and house burnings of Rohingyas in the Rakhine state, and they started leaving Myanmar and coming to Bangladesh, because Bangladesh is the neighboring country for them. Some of them they walked, some of them swimming in the water, and most of the women they came by boats, but not the motorized boats like the normal boats. And this picture, as you can see at the background in that area, that is Myanmar. That is Myanmar, and they came in these boats, and this girl came with her family. This bag is the only thing she bought from her home with her. This is what she got. And let me tell you, before showing you other pictures, I have seen refugee crisis in Europe and other parts of the world, but this refugee crisis was not a normal refugee crisis, as we can see in like your neighboring country, Venezuela. The people from Venezuela is leaving, they are coming to your country as well. But I'm not saying their pain is like lesser than these guys, but there is difference between the other refugee crisis and this refugee crisis. The difference is these people, these Rohingya, they were always stateless. They do not have any documents. They do not have access to education in Myanmar. They were always treated as second-class citizens. So they had never, ever, ever lived a dignified life in their like lifetime. They had never. So they were, even in their own country, they were considered as second-class citizens, and then they left and they came to Bangladesh. Bangladesh is one of the poorest countries. It's not like one of the richest countries. Like we have refugees from Syria who left from Syria, and they are in Europe right now. Europe is huge, but Bangladesh is itself struggling. Bangladesh is one of the most populous countries in the world. So it's not a joke. Bangladesh is the only country in the world where there is traffic jam for the people when they walk. So there are so many people in the Bangladesh. So I'm going to show you some photos. This guy...
Maybe I could just give them some background.
Yes,
A foto anterior, dá para voltar? Could you just, please, come back to the last slide? Yeah. Ele mostra primeiro essa menininha carregando os pertences dela, da família dela. Do outro lado, da outra margem, é Mianmar, ela está em Bangladesh. E esse é um caso que ele reputa muito especial, porque ele já cobriu outras crises humanitárias, de refúgio, de migração forçada, mas a questão envolvendo os Rohingya é que eles são apátridas, eles não têm documentos. Então, isso agrava, porque eles não tinham um tratamento digno, decente, mesmo antes de sair como refugiados. Então, assim, isso leva-os a sair, eles são expulsos de Mianmar e vão para Bangladesh, que não é exatamente o paraíso na Terra, não é? É um país muito populoso, pobre, e isso dá um pouco a dimensão da dificuldade que os Rohingya enfrentavam em Mianmar. Okay, thank you.
So this guy, this is what was his asset back home, and he got it with him. So you can see this is the background at this area. This is all Myanmar, and they came in these boats, like these kind of boats, and they had to walk 40 kilometers to reach the nearest refugee camp. And to reach this point, some of them have walked for 10 days, 5 days, 8 days, and then they reached here. And you can see this guy, he's carrying all his belongings, whatever he had in his life. So this is how poor they were back home. And now I'm going to show you in later slides how they are living in the refugee camps in Bangladesh.
Então, ao fundo se veem os barquinhos, eles vieram naqueles barquinhos, mas depois que chegam tem que andar até 40 quilômetros, com 10 dias caminhando, para chegar ao acampamento de refugiados mais próximo em Bangladesh.
So this is one of the scenes from the camp where an NGO was distributing food. So, yes, yeah, so you can see the lines. I met people who waited for 5 hours in the lines, but they couldn't get any food, and the truck was running out of food. I stayed there for 15 days. I have seen more than 100 people who I interviewed, who I met. They said, oh, we were waiting for 6 hours to get the food packet, but we couldn't get. For 6 hours, can you imagine, for getting one packet of food in a day, they were waiting for 6 hours and they couldn't get the food. See, there is what is the most interesting thing I want to show you. You can see they are all men in this line. And see this picture. See the faces of the woman. These women, they look very terrified. Because whenever the truck used to come, we know it, like when you are hungry, you do not behave like normally, you do not wait in a line. So whenever the trucks used to come, the men, the boys, they used to jump over the truck and take the food. And these women and the children were left behind. And I have seen there were hundreds of scenes which were like, I am telling you, I'm a photographer, it was very hard to capture those scenes in pictures. I'm telling you, there is no picture in this world, no video, or no written text which can justify or which can show you the real pain of the Rohingya. Whatever I have seen, I am telling you, like, as a photographer, I have traveled half of the world, taken awards for photos, but I couldn't take the real pictures of this place. It was unimaginable. It was unimaginable over there.
Então ele mostra 2 fotos. A primeira, uma fila só de homens que esperam 5, 6 horas por um saquinho de comida, pela ração diária, e às vezes não conseguem, esperam 5, 6 horas e não conseguem essa ração. E do outro lado, as mulheres e crianças que são deixadas para trás, porque como o Showkat Shafi menciona, quando as pessoas estão famintas, se comportam como bestas, às vezes, como com feras, e não têm exatamente modos ou qualquer tipo de escrúpulo. Então, essas mulheres estão aterrorizadas, ele diz, e nenhuma foto, nenhum vídeo, nenhum texto que tenha sido escrito sobre esse caso é capaz de transmitir o horror que ele viu em Bangladesh, em Cox's Bazar.
So here is one of another scenes. Can you see this woman? She has no sandals or shoes. Most of the refugees which I saw, which Rohingyas, they didn't had, because even back home they were so poor they never had shoes. That's why I said it was not a normal refugee crisis. Again, I'm trying to say here, I'm not saying the other refugee crises which happened in the world, like European refugee crisis or Venezuela. I am not saying their pain is lesser than these people, but I'm trying to say this was something beyond imagination, which we can see. Like, if as I said, I come from world's highest militarized zone. If I had to leave tomorrow, I'll wear my shoes, I'll get my degrees, I'll get everything, whatever I have at home. I live in a normal house. If I had to leave, I come to other country. If I ever have to leave, I may come to Brazil. So, but I'll come with like all my things. But these people, they didn't have anything. They did. I am telling you again, there is no picture which can justify, which can show you the real pain of the Rohingya. So here, this woman, you can see this material. It was from her like villagers has got whatever they had got with them. It was here, and she was waiting for them. They went, the men of the village, they went to get the food packets for the other family members. So she was waiting for her husband and other family members.
Muito bem, ele insiste no ponto de que não é que seja comparável a dor dos refugiados da Venezuela ou na Europa, Mas, neste caso, ele acha que está além do que ele já viu e do que é imaginável. O sofrimento, a dor dessas pessoas, ele chama atenção para o fato de que a mulher não tinha calçado, porque já vinha de uma região muito, muito pobre. E ele mesmo diz, fala do caso dele, que embora ele viva numa região muito militarizada, difícil, ele bota o sapato dele, bota a roupa dele, pega as coisas e sai por aí. Mas não é o caso desse pessoal. Esse pessoal passa por privações muito maiores.
So this is one of the scenes where the food truck was, you can see these people, the hands here, these hands, there was a food truck here, and these people are waiting, and I stayed there for a whole day that day to check if these guys are telling me truth, that they waited for 6 hours and didn't get the food. Trust me, when I was there. Excuse me. Oh. Hello? Yeah. So I stayed with them for a whole day, and 75% of the people didn't get any food. But I am not blaming the NGOs who were distributing the food. They were also getting the food truck, and the young men, as I said, they used to jump on the truck and loot the truck. But they were hungry. You can't blame them. So most of these women here, they went home without food that day, and it was raining whole day, and only half of them had these umbrellas, but it was just umbrellas, they had no shoes, and it was water till this knee-length water where they were distributing the food.
Então essa é uma cena de distribuição de comida. Ele mostra as mãos erguidas aqui embaixo, no canto esquerdo inferior. Tem um caminhão de comida chegando, e ele ficou ali o dia inteiro e notou que 3/4 das pessoas não conseguiram pegar comida esse dia. Mas ele faz ressalva, ele não culpa as ONGs, enfim, é o problema que parece insolúvel no momento.
So this photo is just to show you, even the old men were waiting for the food, any age group. So in every family, most of the people used to go just to say, oh, maybe I will get lucky today. Son used to say, oh, no, maybe I'll get lucky. Or mother used to say, maybe I'll get lucky to get the food. So they used to get one food packet. So this old man, he was also waiting for food. But I'm not sure if he got the food that day. But the way the food was distributed, I'm not sure he was lucky that day.
Mesmo as pessoas velhas, elas têm que entrar na fila para pegar comida e frequentemente não conseguem ter acesso à comida. É uma questão de sorte, no fim das contas, se o indivíduo conseguiu ou não pegar a sua ração, seu pacote de alimentos.
So this is one of another, this woman had got a food packet. You can see on her head. So she will go take it to her home. And the food mostly was rice packets, and then they used to eat, because rice is the main staple food over there.
Ele mostra em cima, sobre a cabeça desta moça, o pacote, o saco de comida, e basicamente é arroz. Ele está dizendo que é a comida mais comum naquela região do mundo.
Okay, this photo, there is a background story in this photo. So this area is a refugee camp, and this woman got very sick, and her husband tried to take her out of this camp and take to the nearest hospital. And okay, so I took this photo. What happened after this photo? This bamboo stick, it got broken, and her husband fell in the water. So for me, I know most of the times photographers, journalists are very selfish. We try to take the photo first, but this was the moment. There were many, many, many moments in these 15 days which broke my heart. I'll tell you later what happened after that. So here, he fell in the water, and I kept my camera on my shoulder, and I dragged this woman out of the water. It was almost half a kilometer. And when I did that, I wanted to cry, but I didn't cry. But it was one of the heartbreaking scenes from this 15 days I spent in 2017 over there.
O homem tenta levar a sua esposa para o hospital, ela está doente, e por por meio quilômetro ele tenta arrastá-la, mas esse suporte quebrou, ele cai na água, e aí o Showkat larga a câmera dele e vai ajudar a tirar essa senhora da água. Foi um dos momentos em que ele teve vontade de chorar, mas ele teve que resistir, porque a situação deles era pior, evidentemente, do que a dele.
So these three people, this is 70, 70, and 80 year, Muhammad Nabi, Ahmed Ali, and Anumia. So they are friends from Myanmar back home. They were friends, and here, even in the refugee camp, they stayed together with their families, with their respective families, and they were here waiting for their food supplies. And according to them, it was their third day, and they were not lucky on the third day for food. So you can imagine, being without food for 3 days and still hoping for food to arrive. And they were there, this was one of the, these three people, it was like something which, I don't know how to explain it to you. It was very, very powerful thing. They said, we were friends back home, and we are friends here, and we will die together. So they have been always together from their childhood. And in 1970s, when the first time they were expelled from the country, they left together, came to Bangladesh, but stayed for 2 years, then went back. And it was their second time they became refugees in their life.
Esses três senhores, um de 70, dois primeiros de 70 anos de idade, o terceiro de 80 anos de idade, já se conheciam há muitos anos, são amigos desde a época de Mianmar e vieram para Bangladesh nessa onda de refúgio de 2017. Mas no passado, nos anos 70, quando houve a primeira onda, a primeira expulsão dos Rohingya de Mianmar, eles também saíram juntos e voltaram 2 anos depois para Mianmar. Então, o Showkat comenta que há uma certa beleza, uma certa poesia nessa trajetória e o fato de que eles não se separaram e que vão morrer juntos em algum momento, neste momento em Bangladesh.
This woman, I clearly remember, she is coming from Myanmar, walking towards Bangladesh, and this land is in Bangladesh, and she was crying when she came, and she didn't allow me to take her photo, so I was from the front. But then when she left, I took her photo from behind because I wanted to keep this memory with me. This woman came 20 kilometers, she came already 20, and she was crying. She said she was crying from her country, and now she was in Bangladesh. And you can see, as I said, most of them, they don't have shoes or sandals, they were bare feet, most of the refugees. And she had to walk more 40 kilometers to reach the nearest refugee camp, which was in Cox's Bazar.
Ainda em relação ao slide anterior, aqueles senhores estavam 3 dias sem comer, é importante dizer isso, e essa senhora, ela caminha por 20 quilômetros aos prantos, chorando, e ele tirou essa foto, fez esse registro para lembrar, para levar para si isso, e ela ainda tinha um caminho a fazer pela frente.
So this is one of the Rohingya boys who got lucky, and he got the food packet that day. This food was distributed that day by UNICEF, and he was one of the lucky guys. So this is the scene near the refugee camps. This is how they lived there.
Esse rapaz, ele teve sorte naquele dia, conseguiu o pacote de comida que é distribuído pelo UNICEF, e essa é uma cena típica, ele chama atenção para o chão, para as roupas, como que é um acampamento de refugiados naquela região.
So these are the houses they are living in the refugee camp now. Even now, it's 2019, I'm talking to you, they are still living in these kind of houses. It's made of plastic sheets. So these are their houses, and this muddy road, this is their everyday road. Every day, you can see nobody is wearing shoes, and these houses are made of this bamboo and these plastic sheets. This is the best picture I can show you of the houses they live in. These are the best houses they can live in. These are one of the best houses they are living in. But most of the houses, they are on this kind of mud. But they are above the mud, so they were the best houses I can show you in 2019. Nothing changed. This picture was taken in 2017. I went again in 2018. Nothing has changed. They are still living in these kind of houses.
Ele mostra essa como a melhor representação de um acampamento de refugiados em Cox's Bazar. Chama atenção para a lama, para as pessoas descalças, as casas precárias com bambu e lona de plástico, e diz que nada mudou desde que ele foi lá 2 anos atrás. A situação ainda é essa.
So this photo is exactly on the border where Myanmar border starts, but this is from Bangladesh. It's in a school. This photo is taken in a school. So this woman, she had lost most of her family members, and now she was not in her senses, if I say, like, if that's the correct word here. So like she had lost the sense of thinking, and like she was just like waiting for her sons, her like who were killed, her family members. So this photo is from a school. It's from a school window, because whenever they used to come from the Bangladeshis, let me tell you here, Bangladeshis were I have seen the most generous people. They are poor themselves, and I met many Bangladeshis. They said, these people are our brothers and sisters. We will eat only one meal, but we will provide them shelter and another meal. So these schools in this area, they used to take them, the refugees, for 3-4 days before they used to send them to the nearest refugee camp. So this photo is from a school.
Essa é uma senhora que está numa escola que foi improvisadamente o espaço de acolhimento dela. Ela estava fora dos sentidos dela, processo talvez de demência. E ele ressalta ainda que o povo de Bangladesh é um dos povos mais generosos que ele viu. São pobres, mas se tiverem como dividir um prato de comida, vão fazê-lo. E é isso.
So, as I have written here, it's like this border is like 40 kilometers from the nearest refugee camp. And these 3 photos, this photo is also from the school. And this family, they are also living in the school for 1 day, and then after 2 days, like they will go to the nearest refugee camp, which is 40 kilometers ahead.
E essa escola fica na fronteira exata entre Mianmar e Bangladesh, que está a 40 quilômetros do acampamento de refugiados. Então é um posto de acolhimento que eles ficam 3-4 dias, depois são enviados 40 quilômetros dali para o acampamento de refugiados.
So this picture, you can see this picture. I personally love this picture. This shows this girl. See this girl, like she can be anyone. She can be any girl, like, you know, any girl from the world. Like they had got everything, whatever they had at home, they had brought with them, and they got tired on the way to the refugee camp, and they were here. But this time I didn't had a translator with me, the guy, so I couldn't talk to them. But like this is one of my favorite pictures from the refugee camp. Like it shows they're like, this is the refugees, you know, like they had, but she also didn't had shoes, you know, 90% of them had no shoes.
São fotos que ele gosta muito, que mostram um pouco da vida cotidiana dos refugiados. Ele diz que essa menina poderia ser qualquer menina e está ali com os pertences dela dentro daquela mala. É uma foto que mostra um pouco da vida casual dos refugiados.
So this is another photo from the border. So this is what they got from their home. So this is one of the general pictures. And this picture, if you ask me if I ever felt the pain, that was this picture. These 2 kids, their father was killed in Myanmar, and they lost their mother on way to Bangladesh because thousands and thousands of people were coming. And this baby, she was unconscious because it was really hot and humid. When I took this photo, trust me, I thought this is my last picture. I am not going to be a photographer ever again, because I felt like very selfish that time. This girl, it was one of the heartbreaking moments for me. But what I did, I stayed there till this girl got conscious back. So I stayed there for 2 hours. So there were people, but this, I am telling you, this is one of my second most favorite pictures, but this photo, it broke my heart. And it took like 2 hours. There is difference of 2 hours between this photo and this photo. So this is one of the, like these scenes were very common. There were like, everyone was fainting, women were fainting, men were fainting. But this baby, what was the most striking in this, their father was killed, and they came with their mother to Bangladesh, and they lost their mother on the way. And like now they were only those 2. You can see the age. This boy was like 10, 11, 12, and this baby girl was so small, you know. So these scenes were very, very common over there. As I said first, I am going to say it again. There is no picture, no video, or no writings from Bangladesh or from Myanmar which can describe the actual pain, which can tell you. I wish I can tell you the actual pain, but it's very hard to, like, this is like this. I took this photo, so I know this story. there are like thousands and thousands of stories like this, which I didn't see. So these were the common scenes over there.
São dois irmãos órfãos, o mais velho cuidando da mais novinha. Essa sequência é das favoritas dele. 2 horas antes, essa era a situação da menina que tinha desmaiado, tinha perdido os sentidos, mas 2 horas depois ela recobra a consciência. E essas cenas eram muito comuns, ele diz, nos 15 dias que ele passou por lá, de crianças cuidando de crianças, de órfãos, de pessoas que desmaiavam, enfim, isso ele viu o tempo todo. Ele ainda diz, ele reforça que nenhuma palavra que ele disser aqui vai conseguir transmitir a profundidade e a extensão da dor e do sofrimento que ele viu em Bangladesh.
So these were the common general photos from the bordering area, which I showed. So after this, I moved to do another story that was the people who were injured. As I said, there were many people who were injured in Bangladesh, who were burnt alive. There were people who were raped. There were most of the houses were burned, and there were many people who had blood wounds. So I went to see them in a local hospital in Bangladesh, and this is one of the women, Shahida Begum. She was burnt alive by the Myanmar army, and her 3 sons were killed. Her 3 sons were killed one day before, and next day her house was burnt. And she had burns all over the body. She has burns all over the body. And she told me to take her photo and show it to the world and tell them what they are going through. But I am telling you, we cannot feel the pain. This mother lost 3 sons one day before, second day she was burnt alive. And now she was in, this picture is from 2017, she was in the hospital in Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh. And she told me, she is one of those few people who told me, take my photo and show it to the world and tell the world what we are going through. So this is but again I'm saying, we cannot feel their pain, what were they going through.
Os Rohingyas são perseguidos e, às vezes, as mulheres estupradas e, neste caso, queimada viva. No dia anterior, ela tinha perdido 3 filhos, mataram 3 filhos dela. E Showkat visitou um hospital local para ter contato com essas pessoas que haviam sido violentadas, queimadas. E esta mulher, particularmente, pediu a ele, tira foto de mim e mostre para o mundo o que está acontecendo conosco aqui.
So this kid was also burnt in his house, but his mother tried to save him, and he's in the hospital right now. So he's a small kid. So
mesmo os bebês são queimados também.
So these 2 are the only surviving family members of the family. Every other family member was killed, and these 2 women, she's the daughter and she's the mother, they survived, and the mother has lost 1 ear. You can see this bandage. So she lost 1 ear and she was injured. They were killed by machetes. I hope you understand the machetes. So they were killed. Her husband, her son, and her mother-in-law, they were killed by machetes. And these 2 women were injured, but they survived. And this is their story.
Novamente, os 2 últimos membros de uma família que foi toda assassinada. E, se eu entendi bem, foi com lâmina, com machado, com alguma coisa assim. Facão.
So, he's 8-year-old guy. He was also burnt, and so he was. This guy was being treated for some diarrhea or something. So I have done this story. It's published on Al Jazeera website. I'm showing you half of the photos of it. So this was a story from the hospital, and these scenes were I am telling you, everything, whatever I did, everything broke my heart. Anyone in this world, anyone who can see this, that's why I'm telling you again and again, there's no picture which can describe the actual pain. It was very painful. I did these stories. I went through PTSD after this. I really thought I should leave this work. But then something happened that I'm going to share later, that I thought, no, it's important. Journalism is important. Pictures are important. I was here, when I was hearing these stories, I thought no, why I'm doing this? Nothing is, my pictures are not going to help them. You know, like it was very painful. But like later in late stage when I came back, there was a lot of money which was generated for these people. So that keeps me going on. Otherwise, like this is one of the, like I said earlier, I come from one of the highest militarized zones in the world. There is a lot of human rights violations. I have seen deaths and restrictions from my childhood, but I had never seen such a thing before in my life. Never, ever. And I hope none of us will see this again, or I hope I don't have to see this again in my life. That's why I'm saying it again, this was not a normal refugee crisis. In normal refugee crisis, we go, we meet them, we ask them, we interview people, but we don't see these kind of scenes. It was something unimaginable.
Bom, novamente ele fala que depois de passar por isso tudo, ele cogitou largar o jornalismo, mas ele entendeu que ele tinha que ir adiante para tentar ajudar as pessoas, para que as fotos dele chegassem ao mundo, e que essa é uma crise única pelo grau de violência, pelo nível de perversidade que ele já viu, crises anteriores, já cobriu crises anteriores, mas nelas é possível conversar com as pessoas, interagir em bases mais normais, mas que esse grau de violência que é mobilizada contra os Rohingya foi único na experiência dele.
So the full story you can check on Al Jazeera website. So these are some of the photos of the story. So after this story, after hospital, I moved to this story. As I always say, and I said earlier, whenever a truck with air used to come, the young boys used to jump and take the food. So it's always women, old people, and the children who are left behind. So in my heart, I wanted to do justice to the story and show the woman and the children. So this was another story which I did in these 15 days. So I thought I'll do a story on the breastfeeding mothers. And this story, this woman, you can see the baby. Their village was burned down by the Myanmar army. She was pregnant. She was already 9 months pregnant. She was walking. She walked for 10 kilometers. She got the labor pain, and she delivered this baby on road. And after half an hour, she started walking again to the Bangladesh. Can you imagine someone in Brazil giving birth to a baby on road and then start walking for like saving life? Earlier, she was walking to save her life. Now she was walking to save her daughter's life as well. So this is one of, there's big story of her. It's already published on Al Jazeera. You can get her full story. So this is her story. She is one of the mothers I interviewed and I met. And as I said, everything was heartbreaking, everything. Like the baby, this was also heartbreaking. It's not like something normal, something fancy. So every picture, everything, wherever you see over there, was a heartbreaking incident.
Showkat relembra que geralmente crianças, mulheres e velhos ficam para trás. Os adultos e os meninos, eles sempre pulam na frente, pegam a comida. E esse caso, particularmente, é um caso de quebrar o coração, caso que ele reportou, que a Al Jazeera reportou, tem uma história completa sobre isso. A casa desta mulher foi queimada pelo exército de Mianmar. Ela estava grávida, 9 meses, e para escapar, saiu correndo, andou 10 quilômetros, teve o bebê no meio da estrada, depois de 10 quilômetros, e meia hora depois de ter a criança, botou a criança no colo e andou até o acampamento de refugiados. E ele pergunta, vocês conseguem imaginar isso? Uma pessoa grávida de 9 meses, andar 10 quilômetros, ter o bebê no meio da rua, meia hora depois já pegar o bebê para tentar salvar o bebê? É um negócio muito impressionante.
So she was one of another mothers waiting for food there. So this picture here, her name is Hamida, and this baby is not her own baby, it's her nephew, and her mother and father were killed. And she took this baby. She had her own 6 children, and now this baby is 7th children. She said, if I didn't take her with me, he would have died because her father and mother were killed. And there were, at least this baby had this aunt with her. There were hundreds of children whose parents were killed, and they were without any attendant when they crossed over to Bangladesh. So this was one of what I did, like Breastfeeding Mothers story. This was one of the characters of the story.
Basicamente que essa senhora tem 6 filhos, mas esse que está no colo dela é um 7º, que é um sobrinho, na verdade, e que ela trouxe consigo, porque se não o fizesse, ele morreria, já que os pais dele foram assassinados em Mianmar.
So this woman told me, like, these are twins. She told me, like, she eats only 1 meal a day, and it's really hard for her to breastfeed 2 kids in the day. Like, it was like she was struggling with it, and she hardly could eat 1 meal a day. So these stories were common stories. This is one of the common stories, and this woman said, "I'm the luckiest woman in this earth." This is what she said. These were her words. I said, "Why?" She said, "Because all my family members are safe, and it took us 5 days to reach to this country, and we are all alive and safe." And she said, "My neighbors who are living in another tent, either their husband or their daughter or their son was killed, so I'm the luckiest woman." She's living in a refugee camp in this place, and she said, "I'm the luckiest woman of this earth." You can imagine the situation over there.
Então, na foto anterior, uma senhora que está amamentando e que tem uma refeição diária só, então é muito complicado para ela produzir os nutrientes e continuar amamentando as crianças. E esta senhora que se diz a mulher mais feliz do mundo, que tem mais sorte no mundo, porque ela conseguiu vir para Bangladesh, para Cox's Bazar, com a família, e todos estão com ela, ninguém morreu no meio do caminho. Então ela se considera a pessoa mais feliz, mais sortuda do mundo.
So this was my last story in Bangladesh in 2017, and I left the country, and I'm going to tell you some things after that what happened. So this was the last story I did in Bangladesh in 2017, and as I said, I am based in Qatar now. Qatar is one of the richest countries in the world, and these were the poorest of the poor people of the world, and this thing didn't go well with my soul, maybe. So my office provided me with a psychiatrist. They said, "You need a psychiatric help," because I couldn't digest it. Like, one day before, I was with these people. They were the poorest of the poor, and Qatar is the life is very posh life over there in Qatar. So I couldn't take it. I thought I'm being very selfish. I was feeling inhumane inside. It was something which I thought again and again, I should leave journalism. I shouldn't do this profession anymore. It's just I'm taking their photos, getting published, getting awards, getting my salary. That's it. Nothing is helping them. So this thought was for a longer time. It went and went again and again, again and again. And these people's stories, they used to come in my eyes when I used to sleep. And but something happened which kept me motivated. So because of my photos, there were many people who donated money. And it was a good amount of money. A lot of people came, they gave me money, they requested me to take the money to Rohingya. So it's there, I decided to visit the camp again after 6 months. So the first time I went officially, my office sent me to do these stories. It broke my heart. Even I wrote a piece, it's on Al Jazeera, where I mentioned are my pictures doing any good to them? I didn't feel that time. I thought no, I'm being a selfish photographer, that's it. But when there are many generous people in this world, they gave me money, and it was a good amount, I should say. And then I went 6 months later to give the money to the Rohingyas. And it was then and there I got the idea of the 100 Faces of Rohingya Refugees. Because, as I said, when I went in 2017, there is this Reuters, is a news international organization. They got Pulitzer Prize for covering the Rohingya refugees. So Rohingya refugees, Rohingya photos got too many awards to the world. I also got the award for this work. But as I said, most of the photos were group photos. We were showing the refugees coming. So I as a person, as a human being, as a journalist, I wanted to give them a human face, because we didn't know how they look. No, most of the people didn't know how they look, and I wanted to give them a face, and I decided to do this 100 Faces of Rohingya. I'm going to show you now, and in meantime, if you have any questions, you can ask me, and the photos will show. Like the series is from the youngest person in the series is 3-year-old, and the eldest person is 95-year-old. This series was to show that any crisis, or be it Rohingya refugee crisis, it didn't spare anyone, be it a kid, be it a man, be it a woman, be it an old woman, be it a young man. So anyone. So that was the logic behind this series. And once I did this series, as I said, UNICEF directors and ICRC director and Save the Children director, they tweeted about it, and they said this was the most powerful series they have ever seen from Rohingya. And it has been more than 2 years now. The Rohingyas, the people, they are still there. And on 25th of August, there was 2-year anniversary. And we visited back. I didn't go. My colleagues went there. And the situation is exactly same. Nothing has changed. They still struggle for food. They still struggle for like shelter, and the story is same. And God knows till when it goes on. And if you have any questions, you can ask me, and I will show you the slideshow till then.
So before you start your slideshow, I'll just provide them with some translation.
Yes.
Showkat começa dizendo que ele teve algum tipo de perturbação psiquiátrica, porque um dia ele estava vivendo essa vida miserável de acampamento de refugiado em Cox's Bazar. No dia seguinte estava num dos países mais ricos do mundo, com renda mais alta do mundo, que é o Catar, que é Doha, onde ele mora, e é a sede da Al Jazeera. E essas coisas o fizeram questionar valores e rumos na carreira, se ele devia seguir ou não. Mas logo ele se deu conta de que essas fotos podiam trazer doações, trazer mudança na vida dessas pessoas, e foi o que aconteceu. Ele conseguiu coletar dinheiro, começou a receber muito dinheiro, e 6 meses depois que ele tinha feito essa cobertura, quando a crise estourou, ele foi mandado pela Al Jazeera, mas 6 meses depois ele foi, a título pessoal, ele voltou lá para entregar dinheiro para as organizações, para tentar ajudar as pessoas Rohingya. E claro, ele viu que a situação se manteve fundamentalmente a mesma, ficou feliz por poder ajudar, mas ele disse que 2 anos depois, agora em agosto, dia 25 de agosto, fez 2 anos que a crise estourou e tudo está na mesma. Colegas dele da Al Jazeera foram ao acampamento e, de fato, testemunharam isso, que nada mudou. Então, agora ele vai mostrar o fruto dessa investida que ele fez 6 meses depois do irromper da crise. O resultado foi esse ensaio premiado, 100 Faces dos Refugiados Rohingya. Foi uma ideia que ele teve depois que ele voltou pela primeira vez e se deu conta de que as fotos eram boas, eram bacanas, muita gente já tinha feito fotos, ganhado prêmios, mas sempre fotos de grupos, de coletividades. Então ele queria agora voltar lá e dar uma face, um rosto para o Rohingya, para as pessoas, para os seres humanos. Ele queria transformá-los, de fato, tratá-los propriamente como seres humanos. E daí nasce a ideia do ensaio 100 Faces de Refugiados Rohingya, que ele vai mostrar agora, daqui a pouco, e na sequência ele vai estar feliz em responder as perguntas que vocês tiverem. Então vamos assistir ao slideshow 100 Faces of Rohingya Refugees.
Yeah, so if they have any questions till then they can ask.
Yeah.
Go. So in these photos, if you check the link which is published, I have mentioned their names and age, and there's nothing else in the series. It's only their photo, their name, and their age. Not stories, no interviews, nothing. It was just a photographic project to give them a face, you know, like, but here I haven't mentioned the name and age, just in case if you want to see that, you can go to the website and you can check, or you can just Google 100 Faces of Rohingya Refugees, you'll get this link. So, as I earlier said, like this series is from like 3 years to 95, so this is according to the age. I have grouped them in this series. So if you have any questions, you can ask me now, because it will go for like 15 minutes. Yeah, she's there. Yes, please.
May I just propose we give a big round of applause, because, I mean, it was wonderful. Okay, thank you very much for giving this brilliant, exhilarating talk. So now, please, Elisa, proceed.
Yes, firstly, I'd like to thank you for coming to FMG, for your presentation, very touching, and most of all for seeking meaning to your work. That's very touching to see. And I wanted to ask you exactly about that, about sentiment. What would you say, if you could sum up, or maybe not, just a few phrases, of what do you think that those people hope or not for their future? For example, we saw a young mother that was so happy about having her, everybody in her family, and you have this, the lady that, I don't know, had some kind of resilience, I think, of having her body completely, I'm sorry, I'm a little emotional, and still having this resistance, maybe, I don't know, it's my interpretation, maybe not, but it's such a different culture, but of having this, resilience and resistance, and asking you to, having this, idea of, show to the world, show what's happening here. And that's it. I would like to ask you that, if you had a lot of, many conversations with them, but what do you think would be the message, their perspective of what they hope?
So, as I said, they had never lived a normal life. They don't have access to education back in Myanmar, so they were always considered as second-class citizens. So their hope, only hope is like they want to live in a country where they get a dignified life. So not necessary with the money, but at least dignified life. This is what they want.
Essa pergunta basicamente é sobre os sentimentos e as perspectivas que tinham essas pessoas que foram para Bangladesh. E o Showkat disse que eles já eram pessoas de segunda classe em Mianmar, que já sofriam todo tipo de privação, violência, só queriam ter alguma dignidade. Essa é a expressão que ele usa quando ele se propõe a fazer o processo de refúgio, né, se refugiar de Mianmar para Bangladesh. Era tudo que eles queriam, alguma dignidade.
Yes, please.
Thank you so much. My name is Felix Caputo. I'm myself hosted here at UFMG, and I'm very touched by your presentation. But to clarify a couple of things, are there trends of pushing them out of Myanmar? Are there trends related, like some other places in the world, to some minerals, to some properties related to lands?
Mm-hmm.
And then in the past, there was much hope on Lady Aung San Suu Kyi.
Yes.
When she went on power.
Yes.
The world was expecting that she could come in with some weight and make things change. What's happening? Why is she disappeared? As the diaspora now built of this, we've gone away, trying to do something, trying to rebuild a kind of nation out of the nation. Thank you.
So this is a very important question. These people, they never treated them as their own people, so they asked them to leave the country. There is only one demand of Myanmar, the people, the local people and the army. They just want to throw them out of the country, and they do not care where will they go. like if there is any country in the world who will take them. So they do not care. And the most important question about the leader of Myanmar, she is one of the biggest disappointments of this world today. She got the Nobel Peace Prize award, and people were expecting at least she will say, but for her, Rohingya do not exist. She, in her any speech till date, she has never used this word Rohingya. So she doesn't accept them as her own people. So she's the biggest disappointment to the world right now.
Eu acho que a questão mais fundamental aqui é sobre o Prêmio Nobel da Paz de Mianmar, Suu Kyi, alguma coisa, não me lembro do nome dela completo, mas enfim, sempre foi sempre lutou pelas pautas sociais, sempre batalhou contra abusos de direitos humanos, e no caso de Mianmar, ela se negou a desempenhar qualquer papel, se omitiu. Foi o maior desapontamento, Showkat afirma, porque se esperava dela, e ela invisibiliza os Rohingya, ela não menciona sequer a situação dos Rohingya, o que levou a uma reação forte da comunidade internacional, como nós sabemos, a gente se lembra.
Hi, Showkat.
Hi.
Well, thank you for bringing this story to us. I'm actually one of the people who teaches a course here on migration and refugees. And the question that I have for you is, so from the legal point of view, what kind of recognition do they have in Bangladesh? Are they actually recognized as refugees?
Yes, they have the refugee status in Bangladesh.
They do have refugee status as according to the 1951 convention?
According to the UNHCR, and they have the ID cards now. But this story, what I showed, was shot in 2017 when it happened, the refugee crisis happened. So like that time the UNHCR was trying to give them food and shelter. That was their main aim. But now in 2019, they have the IDs from UNHCR. Yes, so they are refugees.
So how did that change their situation from the point of view of the sort of protections and the sort of access to, say, education, legal employment, etc., in Bangladesh?
Okay.
Did that make a difference?
Yes, so it was Bangladesh who welcomed them. Bangladesh opened their doors, they said. And this area, Cox's Bazar, is one of the tourist spots of Bangladesh. And this area was there is a lot of land which was vacant, and they asked them to stay there and erect these tents. You saw the houses, how they are living in, like bamboo tents made of bamboo and the plastics. And because of intervention of all the international NGOs like UNHCR and other NGOs, and by the support of the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, she also welcomed them, and the locals as well. So the locals have no problem as long as they don't take their jobs. I hope you understand. I will be very honest with you, 2017, situation was different. Every Bangladeshi was welcoming them, but 2019, people are worried they will take our jobs, and it may, in future, within 1 or 2 years, it may lead to confrontations in Bangladesh as well, and they may be forced to go back to Myanmar, and that is the problem. That is the worry to the world right now.
Basicamente, a pergunta é sobre o status de refugiado que eles têm. O status é concedido pelo ACNUR, o Alto Comissariado das Nações Unidas para Refugiados. E, sumariando bastante, eles foram recebidos em 2017 de forma mais calorosa. Agora já há o risco de confronto, segundo Showkat Shafi, porque os refugiados representam ameaça econômica. Então, o pessoal de Bangladesh começa a ter medo de perder o emprego. Sure.
Yes.
It's not exactly a question. It's just that I, first of all, apologize for not bringing my students. I'm a teacher at the arts faculty, and I'm specifically at the photography department. And it's probably more a question to Mr. Davison to see if we could, is there any space in his agenda in order to probably have a closer talk to our students of photography, which are both from the Fine Arts School as well as the Communication Journalism School. So probably it would be very, very, very good for them to have a possibility of seeing his work and see the power of photography as a meaning not only of representation, but as a meaning political and social issues involved with documentary photography. I don't know if there will be any...
we can try.
We can.
There's one talk scheduled for tomorrow, Wednesday in the morning at 9 a.m. at Fafishi,
Okay.
both for journalism and photography students.
Oh,
So we
thank
can
you.
try to
Okay.
put it all
Thank you.
together.
Thanks a lot for you.
Thank you.
I'm really impressed, and
Thank
I
you.
really congratulate and thank you.
Thank you
for
so much.
your effort, and I imagine how hard it's been, but you kept doing it, and you got through, and you're here telling the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ok, uma questão do professor Klaus Dalgort e uma questão da moça em cima.
Hi, first of all, I'd like to thank you for coming and showing us your work. And you said that you have been affected by what you have seen there. And I'd like to know if there is any kind of preparation to go to and see this kind of scenarios, if you, as a journalist, did something before going there.
Yes, it's always advised for journalists and newcomer journalists that you should always be prepared for wherever you are going. You should read about the place where you are going. But I'll be very honest, I was not ready for this, what I saw there. And I'm sure no journalist in this world was ready for this, what they saw there. We just thought it's a normal refugee crisis. Like in 2015, which happened in Europe, the refugees came, photographers took photos, interviews, and showed to the world. We thought it will be something like that, but it was something different. Yes, it's always advised to be prepared wherever you are going. You should know the place beforehand. It's not only about the refugees, it's about if you go in any conflict zone as well, you should know the place, you should read about the place before going, but I'll be very honest, I was not ready for this when I went there. Yeah.
A pergunta é sobre preparação para fazer matérias. A moça lá no fundo perguntou se ele fez alguma preparação específica para ir para Bangladesh. Ele disse que é recomendável, mas que ele não fez pessoalmente. Ele confessa que não estava pronto para o que ele viu em Cox's Bazar.
Uma última.
Okay.
One last question, okay?
Yeah. No.
Right. Once again, thank you so much for your presentation. It's not only moving, but also profoundly disturbing. And you've I'm going to take a step back from the nitty-gritty, more human aspect of this crisis. You've mentioned quite often the UNHCR's role in this humanitarian crisis. And forgive my ignorance, I have to know more about this, which is why I'm asking you whether you know whether the United Nations Security Council has taken any position or action, if any, on this clearly a grotesque humanitarian crisis, and if they haven't, if you have any idea as to why not.
Mm-hmm.
So they haven't, but I have really no idea why. In Security Council, it was never discussed. Yeah, that's true. That's a fact. Yes, that's the case. China supports Myanmar, and the problem, there is this biggest problem here. That's why I said it's not a normal refugee crisis. These people, nobody supports them. Like India is one of the biggest enemies of these people, Rohingya people. There are 40,000 Rohingya refugees living in India, but they are not safe. They are being attacked every day. Every single day they are being attacked. These shanty houses are burnt every day. So it's only in this whole world, there's only one country who was open to them, that was Bangladesh. As I earlier said, Bangladesh is itself a poor country. They cannot keep them for a longer time. Bangladesh is already overcrowded, and 1 million refugees is a lot of people. And there are already like job crises and other crises in Bangladesh. Like it's a poor country. They don't have much land. So that is the thing. And China is supporter of Myanmar. They sell the arms to the Myanmar, so that's why in Security Council there is no country which could support them. Actually, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Pergunta sobre o papel que o Conselho de Segurança da ONU desempenhou, se é que desempenhou algum papel já que Showkat citou algumas vezes o Acnur, que é uma agência para refugiados da ONU, mas não o órgão máximo deliberativo, que é o Conselho de Segurança. Showkat diz que o Conselho não teve nenhum papel, ele não sabe precisar por quê, mas talvez tenha a ver com a aliança que existe entre Mianmar, que é o Estado repressor, no caso, e a China, que é membro permanente do Conselho de Segurança das Nações Unidas. Além disso, ele menciona que Bangladesh foi o único país que abriu as portas, mas que é um país pobre, um país super populoso e que não vai suportar muito tempo a pressão demográfica e econômica de 1 milhão de refugiados Rohingya.
Are there any questions?
Uma última questão. Ok, então, muito obrigado por terem vindo. Foi um início, acho, de gala e estou muito feliz. Thank you very much for coming all the way.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.